Hello everyone. In this video, I'm gonna share you about interceptors. What are interceptor? How we will use it, and what are the purpose of using the interceptor? So, interceptors was introduced in Angular 4.3 version, and it is used for the handle the request and response. Handle the request and response means it is used for intercepting the request and response if I tell you in more precise manner. So if we want if we want to change the something inside the request, or if we want to change the request URL, or if we want to change the some kind of header, or if we want to add the custom header to a request, then we can use interceptor. That's a good choice for Angular developer. So we have pretty other reasons to use interceptors, like we can, if we want to configure authentication, in that case we can use interceptor. If we want to add logs, if we want to add the convert the response, for that purpose interceptor is the better option. So here I will create the interceptor, and I will show you how can we can use that. So let's start by our application, and this application we have orders and billing, and we have a billing service here that is calling public API, and that is environment here. So basically what I will do, I will create a basic interceptor, and that interceptor basically will log the URL for each request. Before each request it will log the URL. So let's start. So I'm going to create a file folder here, like interceptor. So I'm going to create request logger interceptor, right? Great. So it is nothing but the simple class, and that class implement the HttpInterceptor interceptor interface, and override the intercept method. So I'm exporting a class, export class request logger interceptor implements HTTP interceptor. Fine. So this thing is pretty much easier for me to uh, add the reference of that particular module whenever we just write that. That's a really helpful feature. And next, so the we have to override the intercept method here. And intercept method takes two parameters. First is the request, and the second one is the handler part. So the request part, I'm just defining that here, declaring here request, and in TypeScript whatever we are writing, that must be type presented for that. So if we are passing any kind of variable to any kind of method, or if we are passing any parameter to a method, then we definitely need to declare the type of that particular parameter. This is any type, and the second one would be I can say that next, and this is like HTTP handler. Okay, so here we can do anything with our request and response. So let's do that. So here I'm going to just log the request for demonstration purpose. So just console that request dot URL, and we will call next dot handle method, handle function basically, and then there we'll pass request. That's it. So that's it if we want to just log the request. So one more thing we have to write, we have to inject this inside our app module right now. So we'll write injectable decorator here. Here we have to provide this. Okay, so basically we are not injecting it inside the app module, we are providing it inside the app module. So HTTP interceptor, and here we will write class, use class, and this would be the class name request logger interceptor, and that's it, I guess. Fine. So I have provided this interceptor here, and I have created the request logger interceptor, and that's it. We have a billing service. So let's see the browser. Okay, so we may be getting any kind of issue here. Just check the provider parse error. Mixing multi and non-multi provider is not possible for token injection for HTTP interceptor. Okay, I got why the issue exists here. So here we have to pass one more parameter here, property here. We can say that this is multi. So multi is basically if we are using multiple provider, then in that case we can use multi. So right now I can making it true basically right now. That's working fine. So our expectation is whenever we call the pay bills, then it log the request inside the console. Let's check that. Okay, so it logged the request URL here inside the console. So that is the result of this line inside the HTTP interceptor. So this is the simple implementation of that. One case arises if we want to change the request URL. In that case, how can we change the URL? Because HTTP requests here are basically immutable. So in that case, we will create a copy of that, copy of HTTP request. So let's do that also. So here if we see our URL, here we have HTTPS right now. We want to make replace the HTTP instead of HTTPS. So we want to replace HTTPS here using HTTP. So let's do that. So we will create a new request, HTTP request equal to here we will write request dot clone. Inside that we can clone that particular request to request dot URL dot replace. We have to replace HTTPS to HTTP. So done. That's it. One more thing, we have to pass this HTTP request to the next handler. So basically if we don't have next interceptor, then it will call the API. Otherwise if we have interceptor, it will call the next interceptor. So we can have multiple interceptor in our Angular application. That's it. Let's check the console. Okay, so still we have HTTPS because we have the log at top of the paged newly created request. So just call the paybill. Great. So we have HTTP inside our request. So as I said earlier that we can use interceptor by various ways. If we want to add the authentication here, we can use. If we want to add the loader here, loader in our application, so in that case we also use interceptor. So if we want to add some kind of authentication, or if we want to generate the notification, then definitely we will use interceptor. So that's it. Take care and be happy and keep smiling always. Thank you.